Imagine stepping up to the tee off and finding out your score won't count. That's the curveball facing golfers like Carlos Ortiz in LIV Golf, where promises of OWGR points are as elusive as a perfect round. In this video, we're diving into the bunker of LIV's golf challenges, the players' reactions, and the pivotal decisions that could shape the future of the tour. We'll unpack why stars like Jon Rahm and other top players are teeing off in a league that gets to score with the official World Golf Ranking system. From the initial drive to the final putt, we'll explore the implications of this standoff and what it means for the players' standings and the tour's reputation. Is this the end of the hype train or just a minor setback for LIV? And do people even care anymore? If you stick around till the end, you'll find out all the details and even get to see the results of the highly anticipated LIV debut for Jon Rahm. So let's tee off. Stepping onto the first controversy, LIV golf players find themselves in the rough, facing a huge issue. Carlos Ortiz stepped up to call out what's been seen as a broken promise, and it's all about points. Here's what he had to say. They definitely said that we were going to get them. We haven't got them, but I just feel that people have to recognize that there are good players here, you know? And there's a very legitimate reason behind this comment. Prior to signing with the league, Greg Norman, the brainchild of LIV, promised the pros signing with LIV that they would get OWGR points for their tournaments. But it's been well over 2 years now, and Greg Norman and his team have only hit bogeys. But there is a reason for it. The OWGR committee has written a clear message, denying points to LIV golf events due to their unconventional format and exclusive player field. Because LIV has a 54-hole format versus the 72 on the PGA Tour, the tournaments don't mean a thing. And this is more than a simple snag. It's a roadblock for players like Ortiz, who took their shot with LIV Golf expecting to play the game on a global scale. But without those points, their world ranking won't budge. In fact, they're sinking lower and lower the longer they play there. How low? When it comes to Ortiz, he was ranked 115th when he decided to move to the LIV circuit. And now he ranks 1,229th in the world. Talk about trouble in paradise. And this situation is set to only get worse the longer it goes on. So what's LIV's game plan? And do they even have one? While talks of a merger have been on the table, little has happened to make it a reality. The merger that's supposed to have already been finalized is far from it. If anything, it looks like it's about to fall apart, and this leaves LIV in a tough spot. While they were able to bring other players on board, they may have trouble doing so in the future if they can't sort out the points. So will LIV switch the format to match the PGA this year, or will the beginning of the end start? There are some interesting stats on the viewership to give us some context on the future, which we'll get into in a second. But even more important is the future of the players signing on. While their hefty payouts may keep them there initially, the impact it will have on the players' long-term standing may outweigh the benefits. On one hand, they're playing for the big stakes, with the kind of prize money that turns heads. Top that off with signing bonuses like Jon Rahm's deal worth $500 million, and it makes even the staunchest supporters of the PGA change their opinion on a dime. On the other hand, the absence of OWGR points makes their play less competitive and their future outside of LIV questionable. These points are a big deal for pro golfers because they help show how good they are compared to players around the world. Without them, it's hard for players to climb up the rankings, even if they're playing really good. And Carlos Ortiz isn't the only one feeling this. Other players are in the same boat, seeing their world rankings plummet faster than a shank off the first tee. Big names like Bryson DeChambeau dropped from the top 10 in 2022 to his current standing of 167th. Sergio Garcia was ranked 57th, only to dramatically slide to 575th. Taylor Gooch was ranked 35th when he joined LIV Golf in June 2022 and now stands at 394th. And the list goes on. So while it's clear the world rankings don't actually reflect anything except the PGA's hurt feelings from their best players leaving, these players are being denied a shot at some of the world's best tournaments. As competitors, they want to play the best, and as of right now, playing at LIV, they don't get the opportunity to do that. To make matters worse, the situation for LIV golfers and their ranking has taken another complicated turn. A recent report has surfaced that advisors for Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, the financial backer of LIV Golf, are facing threats of imprisonment of up to 20 years should they comply with a U.S. investigation into the dealings between the PIF, PGA Tour, and LIV Golf. This adds another layer of problems to the already contentious issue of OWGR points for LIV players, potentially affecting the future progress of the tour and merger. If there's no merger, that means LIV has to fend for itself, and the players playing there have no choice but to sack their world rankings. With such a bleak future, the outlook for many of these players is not looking great, especially when LIV viewership isn't helping. Now, you'd think bringing in a big fish like Rahm would have viewers flocking, right? Not quite. The figures tell us a different story. LIV's golf viewership isn't hitting those eagle-worthy numbers just yet. In fact, it's more like they're playing through a thick fog, struggling to see where the next shot lands. When we look at the stats, the PGA Tour's Pebble Beach event on CBS hit almost 2 million viewers on Saturday, while LIV Golf's Saturday round pulled in just 168,000 on CW. Meanwhile, other sports events are outpacing LIV by leagues. Pro Bowl snagged nearly 3.9 million on ABC, a hefty 1.8 million on ESPN. The college basketball rivalry Duke versus UNC netted a solid 3.2 million on ESPN. And an NBA clash between the Knicks and Lakers scored 2.7 million viewers on ABC. This just shows how far LIV has to go if it wants to compete on the big stage. So why aren't the crowds gathering? Could it be that the fans are just slow to catch on? Or is something else at play? They've got the stars, no doubt, but do they have the staying power to keep fans tuned in? For now, it seems unlikely. However, there was one bright spot recently that may change things a little: Jon Rahm's debut at Mayakoba. Now, Rahm's arrival on the LIV Golf scene was meant to be the ace in the hole, the kind of big play that turns the tide. And let's be fair here, he put on a show, tying for third and helping his team to clinch the win. But the viewership, well, it took a swing upward, with the final round drawing in 432,000 viewers, which is a record for the tour. It's still a far cry from the PGA Tour. This leads us to wonder what it's going to take for LIV Golf to gain credibility. Is this the end of the hype train? The answer isn't as straightforward as a putt on the practice green. It might be that fans are still loyal to the tradition-rich PGA Tour, or perhaps they're just not aware of where and when LIV Golf is teeing off. Whatever the case, LIV Golf needs to find its sweet spot with fans if it wants to compete in the viewership leaderboard. As the next tournament approaches, all eyes will be on those TV ratings, a scorecard of sorts, to see if LIV can swing its way into the hearts and screens of golfers around the world. Alright folks, we're at the 18th hole of our LIV Golf Tour, and what a round it's been. Seems like the promise of OWGR points was a bit of a mulligan for the players. They were all riled up for a leaderboard climb, only to find their caddies handing them a broken pencil. So if you've enjoyed our stroll through the fairways of LIV drama, why not drive that subscribe button like you're aiming for the green? Share this with your golf buddies too. It's sure to put a smile on their faces. Thanks for hanging with us through the back nine. We'll catch you on the flip side of the clubhouse, where the drinks are cold and the golf gossip is always served hot. Until next time, keep swinging and stay out of those bunkers.